What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the NYG Blue Zone. It's your boy Atticus, and the coaching drama across the NFL, it just won't stop. It won't stop. So we received reports about 2 o'clock today that Mike Tomlin stepped down as the head coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers. And, they had a terrible loss last night against the Houston Texans. And I really don't think it had anything to do with that loss by itself, but just a culmination of everything that he has had to go through and endure over the past several years. I have talked at nauseum about what he has had to work with as the head coach in Pittsburgh. From the many different quarterbacks that were subpar, and by the time they got a good quarterback, he was too old to really be mobile. So when a play broke down, he either took a sack or had to throw the ball away. It just wasn't good. And the fact that they are like handicapped with all of these older players with these deep contracts, there's just not a lot for him to work with. So I can see how he would become weary of what he has endured for, I would say, probably the past 6 or 7 years in that team, with that team, in that division, the division which has gotten really good over the past several years. I can remember a time when to be in the AFC North, it meant that the Pittsburgh Steelers were probably going to be consistently winning that division. Then the Baltimore Ravens got good, and it was like, okay, we got some competition out here. And then Cleveland started to get a little bit good, and the Bengals got better, but now the division it's a mess. It's a mess. It's so bad that 3 of the head coaches who started the 2025 season are no longer in their position. The only head coach that still remains is with the Bengals. Wouldn't it be funny if you see some musical chairs with these coaches in that division? That would be very funny. I'll tell you what, now that Mike Tomlin has stepped down, and we don't know what that means for Mike Tomlin. We certainly don't know what it means for the Steelers, but I will start there. I would say knowing the Steelers organization and some seasoned head coaches, the only seasoned head coach I could see taking that job would probably be Mike McCarthy, because he's from that region. In fact, I think he's from Pittsburgh, and he might find that to be really attractive. But I think the Steelers are going to go for one of these coordinators. Probably like a Chris Shula. I can see him landing in Pittsburgh and taking that job. Defensive-minded guy. I personally am not a huge Chris Shula fan, but I can see the Pittsburgh Steelers taking a liking to him. What about Mike Tomlin? What does he want to do? I don't know what he wants to do. I'm hoping that same energy, that same enthusiasm he had to start this most recent season. He had Aaron Rodgers coming in, and who wouldn't be happy to have Aaron Rodgers be their quarterback? Maybe when he was a little bit younger, but the guy still threw the ball well. He just didn't have the mobility that it took to make it in the playoffs. When you get to the playoffs, the teams are bigger, faster, stronger, and they come at you with their very best. And we saw that last night, and he did not look good. I mean, his QBR was garbage. He couldn't get rid of the ball. He was just over 50% passing. To finish his career, he threw a pick 6. The last pass he will ever throw as a professional was horrible. So what does that mean for that coach going into the Pittsburgh Steelers? I don't know, but there's a lot of heavy lifting that has to happen there. The Steelers management, front office have not provided a good quarterback to that team for a very long time. They are handicapped with all of these contracts. They're just going to be a tough team for anybody to walk into and be able to recreate and reproduce what Tomlin's been able to do. So, and I also think that this is one of those situations where all these fans were crying for Tomlin to be gone. And now that he's gone, they're going to experience some pain that other teams around the league have gone through. Tomlin came in, and y'all never had a losing record. Not 1 year. Do you know how many teams would love to have that? Oh my God. The New York Football Giants, their fan base being one of them, their ownership being another one. We would love to have it. Let me tell you something. Now that Tomlin is officially no longer with the Steelers, and he had another year to go on his contract, so that would have to be worked out. But, and I don't know all the ins and outs of how that would work, but he could potentially be on the sidelines of another team next year. And I, for one, if he decides that he does want to continue coaching, I personally, if it took this to get him there, I would crip walk in stilettos and a hot pink flamingo dress. And I would do it publicly. If it meant he would come coach for the New York Football Giants. Yes, I would. I would check my man card at the door and do what it took to get him there. And I hope if he puts his hat in the ring, that the Maras do the same. Whatever it takes, you get him in the door. And I've been going back and forth with a couple of fans who seem to think that Harbaugh is the better option. No, he is not. He's a good option. He's a very good option. Apples to apples, you cannot convince me in any way that Tomlin is not a better choice than Harbaugh. There's no way to convince me of that. And it's not based on how I feel. It's not based on what I think. It's based on the statistics. He's the third highest winning percentage coach who's been active in the league for the past 20 years. What is he, 193, 114 and 2 or something like that? That's crazy to me. We haven't seen anything like that in New York ever. And for us to not relish the opportunity to jump on that, we would be sorely, sorely remiss. But as I've said in other videos, he would have to want to come to New York also. I don't know that he wants to come to New York. He may want to sit on in a broadcast studio with some of his other colleagues and just be an analyst. Maybe he wants to take a year off from football just to decompress. I don't know what that man wants to do. I know he is 53 years old, so he is a full decade younger than Harbaugh. He's got a higher winning percentage than Harbaugh. And the players who have talked about playing for Mike Tomlin raved about him as a head coach. He held them accountable. He made sure he got the very best out of mediocre talent that was given to him by the front office. It's a no-brainer to me. If that man becomes available, and I've been saying this for weeks now, and really hammering it home for the past few days, if that man becomes available, you better go get him. I told y'all to be patient. I told you to wait. That it might happen. It could happen. Them losing 30-6 to the Texans last night could very well be a godsend for the New York Football Giants. And don't forget, there's a relationship between these two organizations. And I said this also. I said that Mike Tomlin might see that there's so many good opportunities out there that this may be the perfect time for him to step away from the Pittsburgh Steelers and do something different. For him to reset himself with a new team and a new system and a new city. This may be the perfect situation for him. Listen, if he puts his hat in the ring, you got to go for him. At a minimum, you better take an interview. You better take an interview. And because there's a year left on his contract, I believe whoever he signs with would have to give a draft pick to the Pittsburgh Steelers as compensation for that year. I don't know that Pittsburgh is going to command that he does that or that the organization does it, just out of respect of what they have for Mike Tomlin, but that's something to be considered. So, yeah, the drama, the plot thickens. I know Harbaugh probably sitting over there saying, this mother, the AFC North, what's going to happen in the AFC North? That's going to be real interesting to see how that whole thing unfolds. And I'll tell you another thing. Kevin Stefanski is becoming less and less attractive with each passing moment. He has a losing record. And for anybody to think that he is a coveted head coach because he won Coach of the Year twice, so fucking what? Brian Dable won Coach of the Year. And look where that got us. He's got a losing record. He's not as attractive as he was. I'd say Mike McCarthy is more attractive than Kevin Stefanski. And I don't want to throw unnecessary or undeserved shade on Stefanski. But I wasn't crazy about him from the very beginning. Y'all know I've made video after video talking about his record, how he's handled quarterbacks, how he has handled his team. I'm not a fan. Obviously, if the Giants see something in him that I don't, and he becomes the next head coach of the Giants, I'm going to get behind him, because what else am I going to do? But I would really hope that they see what we have all seen. He is not, in my opinion, the guy. You get you a Mike Tomlin, you get you a Mike McDaniels for the offensive coordinator. Maybe you try to scoop up, I don't even know who I would like. I'd like to have Jim Schwartz as our defensive coordinator, but there's some good options out there. You do those things, I'm so happy. Don't get me wrong, I'm still happy with Harbaugh. But why wouldn't I want the younger guy with a higher winning percentage who's never had a losing season as opposed to the guy who's 10 years older, has had a smaller, not a bad one, but a lesser winning percentage, and who's had much better talent than Tomlin this whole time, and still hasn't produced a Super Bowl or deep playoff runs. I'm Team Tomlin, y'all. You know it. That's what I'd like to see. I want to hear what y'all have to think. Drop me a comment. Drop me a like. Tell me you hate what I had to say. I don't care. But I'm Team Tomlin all day. If he puts his hat in the ring, you gotta go get him. At a minimum, you better interview him and see where his head at. See if he still has that same fire that he had when he was bringing the Pittsburgh Steelers consistently to the playoffs and winning playoff games and subsequently won a Super Bowl. See if he's still there, because that's the guy I'd like to see. Thanks again for joining me. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell so every time we drop some new content, you're one of the first ones to be notified. And I'm going to bring you more news as soon as I get it. Go Big Blue.
Yeah, a lot of girls probably crying from my old high school. Look, they see me everywhere they go. I probably would too. Look, crossed over to the Jordan man like I'm Michael. Yeah, eating blessings so much I might need lipo. Yeah, tailored for the dogs like I'm walking in chucks. Yeah, it's just in this plan, man, I see all y'all shook. Look, knew that I was great ever since I was a rook. Man, all y'all singles making me look good. Okay, praise to the Most High, yeah, that's Jesus. Look, but when it come to this rap thing, I can't lose. Yeah, back-to-back number ones, that's the thing greats do. Yeah, tell them boys that ain't nothing I can't do. It's my year. It's my year.